Welcome to AlTone's Radiolink Radio. Throttle armed. Throttle disarmed. Flaps middle. Flaps down. Flaps middle. Flaps up. Wind rejection mode. Manual mode. Wind rejection mode. Stabilized mode.
What is going on? This is AlTone, and today I want to share with you how to make and upload customized sounds for your Radiolink T16D. This guy does have a speaker on it, and it does have a place where you can actually put customized sounds so that you can actually program those sounds to specific switches so that they work. Not only that, but as a tip, I'm going to show you another piece, just something I added myself.
Welcome to AlTone's Radiolink Radio.
I added a nice little welcome there, a customized welcome to this radio as well. You have to know where to go in the system in order to be able to do that. So let's get into it. So one of the first things that you're going to have to do is create the sounds for this radio. Now I do have a T16D, and I also have the T12D. The T12D you cannot put sounds on. But it does have, this is a 12 channel, this is 16 channel. Because it's a 16 channel, you have a couple of additional switches on this radio that you may want to program. And the position of the switches is a little bit different. I just use that radio as a reference because I already have it set up on a couple of models that I fly. And that's how I'm choosing what sounds to put on this particular radio. I have a USB connection here. And this USB connection is actually connected to my computer. And what you're going to do in order to access the memory on the radio itself so that you can add the sounds, and I'm going to show you what's in there currently, is you're going to take this, you're going to plug your USB into the top. If you'll notice that you have a red light showing up here on the top. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take these two, these are two trim switches, you have 4 of them. You're going to take these two, you're going to pull them together like this, and then you're going to hold down your power button. Now watch the screen as I do this. Now it came up, and now on the screen you have this. Now what the screen is actually telling you is you have 2 options. One of them is USB mode, and the other option is to upgrade. We're not going to upgrade this. USB mode is already highlighted, so we're just going to press this button here. And now it's in USB mode. To come out of USB mode, you're just going to hit the end button, and then you can unplug it and reboot the radio. But now that that's done, we actually have a folder on our desktop. Now, depending, in some cases, your folder actually may be named T16D. My folder is actually named Untitled. So I'm going to open up the Untitled folder. So here we are in the Untitled folder. This is the folder that is showing up on my screen. As I said, it doesn't show up as T16D. It actually shows up as Untitled on my Mac that I'm actually showing you this on. If you go to Sounds, you have 2 folders. You have System and you have User. If you go to User, you have your sounds listed in here. Now I've already uploaded additional sounds to this radio, but I'm going to show you exactly how I did it. I had to go through a few things and actually even configure the WAV files properly so that the radio would recognize it and so that it would actually tell you what you'd actually hear the sounds on it. So the original sounds.
定高模式，定点模式，打开起落架。手动模式
Flight mode 2.
That's one of the sounds that I put on the radio actually sounds like. Part of the formatting that will allow you to put these sounds on is the way that the name of the sound is actually 6 characters all lowercase on some of the other radios. So what that essentially means is if you want to, you can find sound packs from other radios, download them, and they may work on this radio. Just make sure that I would say, even as you're creating, make sure you create you title your sounds so that you can recognize them in the radio and you don't have to listen to each one to find out what they are. And you also want to make sure that they are all lowercase and no more than 6 characters. So I abbreviate the names so that it makes sense to me. and so I can find them relatively easily. Some of these actually, if I remember correctly, I'd actually downloaded other sound packs online, which you can find if you do a search for you. Find them. You may be able to find sounds that you can use, but if you prefer for all of your sounds to sound the same, and you want to actually do a little bit of customization to what your sounds sound like, because I've found with some of the sound packs that they don't actually always have, all of the information that I want it to say. And not only that, but I don't like having multiple voices on my radio. I want them all to sound the same. So I will reprogram all of my sounds or create all of the sounds that I use at least, and make sure I bookmark and I'm able to go back to the way I've created those sounds so I can actually create more in the future. So if you're fine with using downloadable sounds from other places, then you can do that. Many people may have sound packs. I'm going to try to make mine available for anyone who would like to use them, and I'll be creating additional sounds as I feel that they are needed. But this will help you because these sounds won't just work on this radio. They should also work on other radios that allow you to add sounds to them. So by learning this, you don't just learn how to put sounds on your Radiolink radio, but you'll also learn how to put sounds on many different other radios as well. How you actually get to your volume control, and of course, if you got it if you have your radio for the first time and you want to check that, you're going to hit your mode button here. You're going to go to transmitter settings, and from transmitter settings, you're going to go into system settings. And in system settings, you have a volume there. That volume, currently I have it 100%. You have it comes out of the box at 75%, but you have everything from 0, 25, 50, 75, and then 100. So I have mine on 100, and then you have your sounds. I have mine on key and alarm, and I'll leave that there. Vibration is on alarm only, which is fine, and vibration intensity I have at 80%, and I'm going to leave it there. And now let's go back to the computer screen, and now I'm going to show you how to make your own custom sounds. So if we go to our computer screen here, what you'll notice is I have this young lady up here on the screen. You can yours may actually show up differently. And this is a TTS demo site. So you don't have to use this one. You can use any site that you want to. You can even find other devices and whatnot that you can type your information into and record it. I do this on my computer because I can then record from the computer what's being said, and then I can actually edit it so that it's the right size, saved as a WAV file in each individual, and then I can actually create each one of these files. Now it can be the way that I'm doing it is a little interesting. There are many ways that you can do this, but I'm just showing you or sharing with you the free way that I have currently of being able to do this. What you'll notice here is I actually have the language in English. The voice is Ashley. You can change that to whatever voice you want to here on this site. And then I have all of, I actually went through and listed out all of my different sounds, everything I wanted it to say. And so I listed them, and I did this one time because what I also did was I used OBS, free version of OBS, and I did a screen recording. You can find other devices that will allow you, all you have to do is find a way to record the sound from your computer screen. That's the key. I just use your OBS, just like I'm using OBS in order to record this video for you. And I use that to record the video and the screen and the sound of the screen in which I'm actually using. Currently, we have all of these different things listed. So I have armed, throttle armed, disarmed. What I've done so that she pauses in between each one. It took me a little while to figure this out. I put the name, I put what it is I wanted her to say. Then I put an asterisk behind it, and then I put a comma behind each one, which between the asterisk and a comma, she pauses just long enough to put a little bit of airspace in between each one of these so that I could actually type them all in. And then I hit enter. But I can type them all in and get her to say them all and give me a little bit of space. So if I click say it down here, this is what she does.
Armed. Throttle armed.
disarmed, throttle disarmed, gyro on, gyro off, stabilized mode, wind rejection mode, manual mode, flaps up, flaps down.
Okay, so I'm going to stop it. You got the general idea. Again, you can change the voice. I'm currently using Ashley. So if you were to be able to download my sound pack that I'm creating, I'm going to try to make it available, and you wanted to create additional sounds, but you wanted her voice to sound the same, you could come here, use Ashley, and do the same thing. I like this means because this allowed me to record her saying all of these all at once without having to go back to it. I can actually copy this into a Word document and save it, so I have them listed. And then I can go in and edit the sound individually. Each one, cut and edit them so that I can actually have them for my radio. So after you do that, essentially what I did was, again, used OBS to record the entire screen. And then I went into CapCut. CapCut I've used a lot for, I've been using it because it's free for a couple of different things. So this is where I used OBS in order to do a screen recording and recorded her saying everything. It was like a minute and some seconds long.
Flaps down. Flaps
And then I took that, dropped it into, and this is CapCut, dropped it in there, and then I went in individually. I actually seem to have backed out by mistake and deleted those edits, but I went in there and individually edited based on the sound file here at the bottom, each one of these. So I just cut, I made cuts in here and deleted the centerpieces.
Disarmed.
So I had each one of them separated out. And that way I had a string of individual phrases all linked together. So what that allows me to do, and this is the thing about CapCut, which is actually pretty good. If you were to hit export over here, you have some options here. And then you can choose audio. So I let this actually break out each one of the individual videos. I saved each individual video, right, to a place where I had chosen. I exported to the same folder. But what I did was I clicked audio and selected wave. So what CapCut will do is and of course there may be easier ways of doing this, but what CapCut will do is it will record the video with audio and then will also create a wave audio file for you. And that's what I did. And so I'm going to show you what that will look like once you do it. We're just going to use one of these. I'm going to delete that out. We delete everything else, do the one, and then you can go back and add all of the other ones back in. So let's say we only have these 4 that we're going to be saving out. Let's take a listen to it.
Armed, disarmed, throttle disarmed, gyro on, armed, disarmed.
Now you notice that the first one, the volume seems to be a little bit higher. So one of the things that you can do, I have it increased to 10.3. You go into your file and you increase the volume on all of them about the same, 10.3. And I did this volume adjustment but prior to actually cutting them. And now that we have the volume adjusted, so they're all the same.
Armed, disarmed, throttle disarmed, gyro on.
We can delete everything except for that first one.
Armed.
So now we have just armed. And then we can go to export. It'll bring this up. Click audio. Make sure it's set to wave. And then export it.
Armed.
And then when the second window that comes up, you just hit cancel. Then we can undo. Do the second one. Delete the first one. Do the second one. Delete the last ones. And then we're going to export. Same thing. Make sure the wave is selected.
Disarmed.
And there we go. That's disarmed. And then we can do the same thing. Select this one. Delete it. Delete the last one. Play it just to make sure.
Throttle disarmed.
Okay. Throttle disarmed is what it is. And then export.
Throttle disarmed.
And now you have throttle disarmed. And so you keep doing that until you have all of them done. This way actually seemed to work out better for me. And then once you do all of that, we're going to close out of this. And then you can come back over to, let's see, that's OBS recordings. We're going to go to the folder where I actually export everything to. And so what you have here is we have 08071 with a 1 behind it and then a 2 behind it. So it's just adding numbers behind each one. And I like to put them all in the same folder. So we're going to create a folder real quick. Like I said, the MP4 is going to still be there as well. If you want to, you can use that for something else later. So we have the sounds folder, and we actually have 3 sounds in there. And so we have each one.
Armed. Disarmed. Throttle disarmed.
So we can take this one and rename it armed. That's less than 4, and we're going to make sure that that's all lowercase. It's going to be throttle armed, T armed.
Throttle disarmed.
And then T disarmed. And there we go. So we've got these 3 listed in here. It should be 4, but that's fine. We'll work with these 3 just to get you into and find out what to do with the rest of it. Now, one of the things that you're going to notice if you go to the information on this particular WAV file, which is something you want to be aware of, your sample rate is 44.1 kilohertz. It can't be that. Your radio won't recognize it. The bits per sample is 16. That's fine. But the sample rate is 44.1 kilohertz. Now I'm going to show you why you want to put these all in the same folder. So now we can go to a different website. Let's move this off to the side. And that is Wave Converter. And so when you go to Cloud Convert, you don't have to have an account. I just happen to have one. But if you go to Cloud Convert, if you decide you want to pay for service, then that's fine. But this is one of the things about this that you're going to want to know. You can basically only convert 10 files a day on the free account. If you want to do more than 10 files, you're going to have to pay for you can pay for 1,000 credits, or you can pay for a full year of access or something like that. And you can find out that information over there in the pricing if you want to. If you want to use an account that will allow you access to be able to convert more files at a time or over a period of time, then you can try that. But you don't have to. So what we're going to do is hit select file. It's going to take you to all of your files on your computer. And then I have sounds here, which is the 3 that I'm going to be looking at. We can actually select all 3 at the same time and click on upload. It will upload all 3. And then for each individual sound, this is what you're going to want to do. You're going to hit convert, and you're going to select WAV file because they have to be WAV files. And then you're going to hit this nice little wrench here, and that wrench is going to take you to this screen. You're going to make 2 changes here for the conversion. Channels, you can put select mono, and sample rate is going to be 1600 hertz. Those are the only 2 things that you're going to need to change here. And then you can click OK. You're going to do the same thing for each one. Wave, channels, mono, and 1600 hertz. And then click OK on it. Again, the last one. Now, if you have multiple files, you are going to have to go through each individual file and make this change, 1600 hertz, and say OK. Now, when you do the conversion, you have a choice. You can hit convert, and it will convert all 3 files, or all 10 files. And again, you can, if you have some patience, you can do 10 per day. If you want to do more than 10, it's going to give you an error for any of the additionals that you do. And then you can download it. When you click download, it's going to ask you, are you sure that you want to download these? And then you're going to go to downloads. In downloads, they're actually there and listed the same way with the same file names in your downloads folder, or wherever it is that you have your computer set up to download your files. Now you have a choice. You can actually take these files and you can move them directly into, you can overwrite the ones that you have, or you don't have to. As long as you know where those files are at, you can use this to access the files to put them onto your radio later. Now, if you look, now we're going to compare these files. So get info on this one, and then we're going to get info on this one. And now if you take a look at each one of these two, there's a difference. With that conversion, it is actually changed from 44.1 kilohertz down to 16. And your bits per sample is still 16. That puts the file in a format that the radio is going to recognize. So it will not just play, but it will also play at the correct speed. If you use other tools, I attempted to try to use other tools in order to do this conversion. If you use another tool, it is a possibility that your sounds are going to come out distorted, or the radio may recognize them and may play them. It may change attributes to the sound. It may not sound the same. I know this because I tried it with a different program, and that's what happened. It would not allow me to be able to play it without it being distorted. So once you've done all of that, you're going to go back to your radio. Same thing. You're going to take your USB connection cable. Make sure your red light is on. Hold your two trim switches at the bottom together. And then go to your boot mode. Go to USB, just click on there. It's already highlighted. Well, actually make sure USB is highlighted. I actually turned it so it wasn't. Make sure USB is highlighted. Click on it. And then your drive is going to show up on your screen. And so now we have our untitled folder here. And then we're going to go into sounds and user. And then we have our 3 sounds that we just created. Just want to hear them to make sure.
Throttle disarmed. Disarmed. Armed.
And then we're just going to drag these 3 into this folder. And that is as simple as that. Once they're in that folder, they've been copied over. Like I said, we've got quite a few here, so I'm not going to copy these new ones over in there because they're just going to overwrite the ones that I have here already. Once they're in there, you can exit out of here and be able to come out of the radio. And once you reboot the radio, the sounds are going to be available. And I'm going to show you how to change or how to assign those sounds to switches in just a second. But before we go there, you remember that I have a sound that actually says, welcome to Radiolink. Welcome to AlTone's Radiolink Radio, right? So let me show you where that's located at. So when you go into, so we're going back to the base of the memory in the radio, which should essentially be your SD card. What you have here is you're still going to go to sounds, but you have a system folder. In that system folder, you're going to click on it, and then you're going to click on English, because your radio in the US is actually already going to be set on English. Now, there's a possibility that you can create Spanish or a different folders for this purpose. Maybe I'll try that in the future as well. But if you're going to set this to English, then you're going to go to if it's already set to English, then that's where you're going to go. And so here you have a bunch of different folders. There's still sounds there, but what you're going to go to is prompt, and this is to change your sound as you are actually starting up your radio for the first time every time. So in the prompt, there's a bunch of files in here. Now, what you're going to see is, and I'm going to play it for you. Let's see if I can find. So in there, you're going to have a hello file. That hello file is originally, the original hello file in this radio is this.
Welcome to Radiolink.
That's the original hello file that comes on the radio. When you first start this radio up, that's what it says. All you have to do is take the file that you've created. So I'm going to see if I can find mine really quickly. So this is the radio sounds on my desktop, my radio sounds. And so in here I have one that's a welcome sound. I have actually a couple of welcome sounds. There's this one.
Welcome to Radiolink T16D. Let's fly. Welcome to AlTone's T16D. Welcome to AlTone's Radiolink Radio.
So I have these three here. You notice that they're Welco 1, 2, and 3. All I did was drop it into this prompt folder, take the original hello file, and add a 2 behind it. I don't want to delete that file. I want it to still be there. I added a 2 behind it to change the name, and then I changed the name to the file that I wanted it to. I wanted to play every time the radio started, and named it hello.wave. Now this is what plays.
Welcome to AlTone's Radiolink Radio.
That's what plays every single time I start up my radio now. And so with that, all you have to do is go into the radio, and you can actually assign your sounds to your switches. So let's go ahead and come back out of this. And so the only thing left to do is go in and assign the sounds to the radio in the places that you want to, on the switches that you want it to be addressed to. You're going to go to mode and switch general settings. Make sure that you've already gone through and turned up your volume on your radio. Switch audio, and then at the top you have audio switch. You can change which switch it is that you're associated with. What we're going to do is we're going to change E. So switch E is going to be our flaps. And now what you have is the three. Since it is a 3-position switch, it gives you 3 options. So flaps up, we're going to change that. So right now,
Flaps down. Flaps up.
all the way back is flaps up. So we're going to change that to flaps up. And there you go. So now it's actually
Flaps middle. Flaps down. Flaps middle. Flaps up. Throttle armed. Throttle disarmed.
And there you go. The main things that I'm going to be using as I'm flying any of my aircraft is basically set on this radio now. And now, even if without the labels, because I do normally label my switches on my radios so I can at a glance kind of see where they are, this is going to allow me to be able to fly and be able to know as I'm flipping switches, or get a memory for where the switch is located at for each one of those things. There's a couple of other things that I'm going to want to set in the future, but that's really going to help out quite a bit. So thank you so much for stopping by and checking this out. I hope that this helped you out in some way, and I really look forward to sharing more information like this with you in the future. Take care.